All right, let's take a look at breakout rooms in Newrow. If you wanted to look at the breakout room settings or to begin breakout rooms, you'd go to Tools and then click Breakout. You can see that there are automatically 4 rooms. They give you the choice to add more. And if you have students, you will also have this little drop down here that allows you to assign students by a certain number of students per group and things like that. I'll show you what that looks like in a few moments. But one of the major things we want to look at are these settings right here. So you need to have these settings configured the way that you want them before you open those breakout rooms. Here are the different permissions that you can give. So chat permission, you can allow them to chat in a group inside the room. If you are using collaborative notes, you could certainly turn that on in here as well. Screen share, that's up to you if you like them to have the screen share function. I like them to be able to show me what they're working on or walk another student through something. So I leave that on. I don't want them to play my files. I don't want them to access my playlist and X out of the file in the breakout room. I don't want them to upload or rename or delete any of my files for sure, so I don't turn that on. Most times I don't want them to be sharing YouTube videos, but if you were doing something where they created a video and uploaded to YouTube to share, then you would want to turn this on. I do want them to be able to draw and write on the presentation on the board because usually in a breakout room, I have a slide in there that I am asking them to add something to, write on, highlight, move objects, things like that. I don't need them to have the extra whiteboard right now. But if you wanted to allow that, for instance, if they were working on a math page and you wanted them to use the whiteboard as their scratch paper to do their work and then go back and put their answers on the actual slide, you could do that. I will let them initiate class recording. I can't start the recording for them in a breakout room, but if they choose to do so, they could record them working and record their work. And in this particular activity, I don't have them switching rooms, but if you were doing, say, a scavenger hunt or something like that, you may want to let them switch rooms. There is also a chance up here, you'll see once we have a student, you can change the assignment and you can move the assignment from room to room. But if you wanted them to switch rooms and be able to go from one slide to another, you could certainly do that as well. Here, this allows us to clear the rooms. So basically what happens when you create a Newrow session is you're creating a course. So when you go into that course, the things that you add to that course, the files that you add to that course will remain in there. Same thing with breakout rooms. If you create breakout rooms and you put slides in there and students start working, when they come back to the course the next day, those same breakout rooms will be there and their work would still be in there, which is great if you want them to continue working where they left off. If you don't and you want a clean slate, you could go here to clear rooms. There's also a chance to clear rooms here, and you could also do that by closing rooms. When we close this box, you can see you could also just X out any of these rooms to close them, and that would delete the files and work within them. So say we're in these breakout rooms, and we have started the breakout rooms. So I press start here and I'm ready to go ahead and broadcast my file. So I go into my file, I have a breakout room shared folder. I select something to play in the breakout rooms. And then I think, oh, well, let me go check and make sure it's in there. And I go into the room and there's a blank slide. Why don't I have slides in my breakout rooms? And a lot of people get stuck right here. The problem is in Newrow, we can't load slides into a breakout room if there are no students in that room. So here's what we can do to get around that. So if you want to have a student in there so you can try these breakout rooms, here's what you can do. You can go ahead and let me close the breakout rooms for now. You can go ahead and open another window. The only thing that you need to remember is when you want to come in as a student, you need to use an incognito window. So go up to the 3 dots and select New Incognito Window. This incognito window will make it so that Newrow doesn't recognize you as a teacher. Otherwise, if you open a new window and you put in your guest link, it will say, oh, you're a teacher, and it'll bring you back to your room with the teacher view rather than adding you as a student. Just like always, when you want to invite someone to your room, you would go back to the schedule and click manage and grab that URL where it says view URL, copy and paste it. And then you would go ahead and enter that into your incognito window. You can then enter as whatever you want. You can always make a funny name if you prefer. And once you have entered, you will see back on the Newrow screen, it's asking me from the teacher view if I'd like to allow the student to join. I do. Now I can go to Tools, Breakout. I have a student to go into the breakout rooms. So you can see this is now an option. I have a drop down here. I can assign students automatically or import a list. I choose automatically, and you see it gives me an automatic number of rooms. I can select any number of rooms here. The only problem is I only have one student in here right now, so I'm going to only have one student in one room. So it wouldn't create 20 rooms for me right now because I only have one student. I could also select a certain number of people per room. If I had a full classroom and I wanted, say, groups of 4, I could select this and put them in groups of 4. Again, I only have one student, so it doesn't really matter which I select. It will put one student in breakout room 1. Now, once I click Start Rooms, I can again go to Broadcast to all rooms, go to my breakout room shared folder, select the activity I want to show in the breakout rooms, play it, and now when we go to breakout room 1, since there's a student in there, there will now be my slide. So I selected annotate, so the students will be able to write on here. So remember, you want to, if they don't see it, if they say, oh, I can't write on it, you want to remind them to click on the pencil, and then all of their tools will pop up. They can use the text tool, they can use the pencil tool, they can change the thickness, and so on. Remember, they can do all of that once they click the pencil tool to get their toolbar to come up. They can also zoom in and out from the student side as well. And that is the generals of breakout rooms. So a couple things again to remember. You cannot add the files to the rooms until you have students in the room. So remember that you want to make sure that you send them to the breakout rooms. And you can see, if I pulled up the student view again, you can see as soon as I selected that file, it popped up right away on the student screen. So it is very quick. There's not a lag time for it to show up for the student view, but you do have to wait till they're in the rooms to be able to send the file to the rooms for them to be able to use. So just remember, your tools, breakout rooms gives you all of those options. You can also, once you have the rooms open, you can click here to get to that manage rooms. I could change the assignment. I could move it to the next room or mix it up. If I had, say, different activities that I wanted to do and I didn't want the students to move, I could instead move the assignments and change those. My settings are here again. And remember, I need to set those before I send the students to the breakout rooms. They need to be preset. If you have any questions about breakout rooms, let me know.